Hi, and welcome back to Real Opinions. I'm Jack, and today I'm going to be reviewing Money Monster. A bit late, but to be honest, does it really matter with Money Monster? And Money Monster is this kind of hostage movie, corporate conspiracy film cobbled together where it's about George Clooney as a financial TV show host. He hosts the TV show Money Monster, which is... I'm trying to remember what the name of the actual Wall Street show is. But it's the kind of thing that you see in like Iron Man, and they parody in South Park, like that buy 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 sell 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 TV show, and he's this over the top host with the kind of down to earth, controlling director Patty, who's played by Julia Roberts, and she's always talking to him through an earpiece, telling him what to do, what to say, and he goes against the rules because he goes against the rules. That's his character. That was a really bad description, but that's the gist. And but that kind of is all broken up by the arrival of Kyle Budwell, who breaks onto the set and takes Lee at gunpoint and basically says, "Keep the cameras rolling, or I'll shoot." And that's the gist of the film. So it's about learning why Kyle is going to such a lengths to do this to Lee Gates, the host. Why in particular he's picked Lee Gates, and because he can't just be a bad guy, he's got to be a good guy that's had bad stuff happen to him, and so it's actually just a big corporate conspiracy that they've got to untangle and solve. Why did this one guy get screwed over? And it's not because he made bad investments. The hook of the film is this hostage negotiation situation, and honestly, I think that does that bit well. So that's good, that the hook of the film is the best bit. What's bad is that everything else is bad. The three characters that I've listed are stuck in this studio environment, so Kyle's kind of got the power that because he's manipulating the TV show host to do what he wants with the gun, but at the same time the director's in the guy's earpiece talking to him, saying what he can do to avoid this, what he should be doing, and so it's just a play between it kind of power rises and falls between the three different characters at the same time, as well as information. Those two, so Kyle knows exactly what's happened to him, and he knows exactly what's being caused it by Lee, but Lee's blissfully unaware of his own life because that's of his own character. But then at the same time, Patty's in the control booth. She can Google information, she can research, and she can then feed that information to Lee, so Lee can have an upper hand slightly on Kyle at points. Sometimes it goes back again, and that part I genuinely thought was quite good. I mean, not brilliant by any means. I mean, I think the direction of it was completely fine. The cinematography was completely fine. I won't go into the editing; that will come later. But yeah, and I thought that the dialogue and the way that it was presented was quite witty and quite well done, and that it was a good back and forth. I'm quite easily impressed when it comes to little moments that manage to build on a character without much grandeur or just like much of a focus on it, and so they do 2 or 3 little, not so much lines, but just character actions that manage to fill out the people's backstory a tiny bit more in these parts, and I appreciate it when they do that, because I mean, especially in a film where everyone else is just a cardboard cutout stereotype, when they have a little 5-second cutaway of an action, and that tells you much more about a character than any witty line could. Well, in this film, I mean. I really appreciate that stuff, and so I thought that, I mean, I don't believe that was the direction, because the direction throughout everything else was, as I said, average, if below average, and I believe that was probably written into the scripts, because they were quite good little moments that I felt helped benefit these back and forth witty dialogues, and also the rise and fall of power, as I said. However, every other character is dull, boring, just annoyingly bland. So that goes for the assistants that are helping out with the show, running around the city trying to find information. That goes for the corporate people that either trying to help the cause or not, or flip-flopping. So generic, and I don't care. You don't care about them at all. And every single moment where these characters are involved with one of the central three, that then becomes a bad scene. It's not one of these things where the central 3 characters can help lift up the others. No, it just taints it. I mean, not that they're completely pure or amazing, but it's just the fact that any quality that they have is inherently lost in any other conversation with another person. Yeah, and so when the film does, this isn't a spoiler because they spoiled it in the trailer. Yeah, when they eventually get out of the studio, then the film goes even worse. Because you're moving out of this situation where it's the three only focused on characters are just pushed out into the open, and they're pushed out into this awful final conclusion that's just boring, and it's not even boring. That's the bad way to word it. It's just so deflating to everything that's been built up beforehand. This is where I'll come into the editing, because I'll class this under editing because it's very, very generic in its structure, in that it begins with the newsreel introduction that we've seen a billion times before. We'll go over a dramatic flair about how, all money is technology now, isn't that bad? Isn't money bad, people? And this is why I'll come into the editing for it, because in these news footage, they'll set up for what it will eventually be coming as the corporate conspiracy. Basically, they just keep saying, this company has failed due to a glitch. And when it says glitch, it has to go glitch, 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 and the screen flits out like no other screen will ever do besides a film. And then it will just cut between these random things, and every so often it will just go glitch, like some shitty Wreck-It Ralph thing, I don't know. And so it's setting up like that awful, and you know that that's what's going to come back to it, and the fact that it's done this crappy little effect for a glitch for news footage, which there's no reason for it to be glitched in the tone that you're watching it, besides the fact to add this crappy effect to emphasize to people what a glitch actually is, even though you don't know what a glitch is, because it's so faked and it's so awful. But you know what's coming, you know it's not going to be a glitch, because also it's presented by a main character delivering the line, so you know that they're not. One other moment that bothered me involving this glitch idea is that there's a horrible little moment. The bad guy company people Skype another bad guy company people, and it does the Unfriended thing, where if you've seen Unfriended, well, if you've even seen a trailer for Unfriended, you know that it's the Skype horror film. Yay, great stuff. But what they do to get around cutting between takes on those ones, because it should be just one long unbroken take on a webcam, but what they do is that they make it lag a bit, and they kind of just freeze the frame for a second to make it look like it's connectivity problems to cut between takes. That's a well enough idea on its own. If you've seen the film, you know that they do it crap, because they don't even they don't even use that well. Like they think of the perfect way to cut between takes without it looking false, and they manage to fuck that up. And in this film, they do it again. They do it as well, and I have no idea, because it's literally the guy is on screen for 5 seconds. 5 seconds. He has one line, and they cut in the middle of it, and you can tell it's a cut because it's a random. It's not even like they make it look like believable lag. Like, it's not even, if you've been on Skype before, or you've been on a video streaming website, you know what lag looks like, you know how it works. It does not suddenly go wash over the screen in a blue glow, and then cut to the other person being on the other side of the camera talking in the middle of a line. 5 seconds, and but it's McNulty from The Wire, so he's a good actor. 5 seconds. It was literally a 5 second take, and they couldn't get that right. So it was 2.5 seconds, glitch effect, 2.5 seconds. Why? I know it's an incredibly petty little moment. So throughout the film, they're kind of doing these Truman Show-esque cutaways to people reacting to the show, which they never actually react. It's just cuts to shots of people staring in restaurants and in bars, and then it'll cut back to more people staring in restaurants and bars, and then at the end of it, spoilers, they stop watching the screens, and at the moment when the TV broadcast ends, this wouldn't be a spoiler, everything has to end. See, I have to get deep in reviews now. Everything comes to an end, and so when this TV broadcast eventually ends, the Truman Show has a good ending with that. This one had the potential to do something very similar, and it had the chance to talk about something which is the whole film is talking about how technology and people are moving faster and faster than ever, not caring even more because everything is instant and everything is happening quicker and quicker, and that people are losing connection to one another, blah blah blah. And they had this perfect moment where they could have actually talked, they could have actually tried to do something, and instead, right after, they then say nope, cut to news footage for how there's cat memes on Vine being made about the whole ordeal. I never want to go. I don't want to go to the cinema ever again and hear the word cat memes. It's kind of a dark situation. I mean, even without knowing the ending, it's a dark situation. When have you ever seen a meme about a hostage situation? And on Vine, who sees a hostage situation and thinks, you know what, I'll cut a clip of this and put it next to a cat and put it on Vine. That's what teenagers do nowadays, isn't it? That's all we teenagers do nowadays. There are other little moments where they just show the millennial as being a disgustingly stupid person that only cares about fame and doesn't even care about their own life anymore. The thing is that I wouldn't call it a bad film. I'd say it's a 5 out of 10 film. But and that's me 5 out of 10 quality wise. And like I said, for the trio bits, I genuinely enjoyed the trio bits, and I thought that the trio bits were, like, where it's the three of them, really, really good actually. Not amazing by any means, but 7 out of 10 good at least. But these other scenes, which have made me feel just bitter. It's a film that tries to teach you a lesson, but it comes from ignorance. And it's not making any specific point about these big wigs that control Wall Street, and at the same time it's belittling the people that these big companies also belittle. So it's kind of just patronisingly telling you should hate the man, by the way, I'm the man.